Are we okay? Hello, everybody. It's and Dr. Josie and Andy back with another a 010 podcast. But today we have it's not just us chatting and randomly going off into this or that direction. Today we've got a guest with us, and we have Lonna Brooks, and Lonna is the owner of Terry's Health Products in Bismarck. There's a lot of other interesting things about Lonna, but that is that's what she does for a living. Should we say that?
Yeah, that
But
works.
yeah, yeah, that's what she does for a living. But Lana, we met in just like Josie and I met. I met Lana in a networking environment, and we have become friends over the years, and which I'm thankful for. And Lana's an interesting woman, and so we look forward to hearing what you have to say. So first off, tell us a little bit about Lana, not Terry's health owner. Like, tell us
Yeah,
about you as a person. Like, where did you grow up and where did you go to school and those types of things.
yeah. I am from Bismarck, born and raised here. My entire family is still here. I have a brother who lives in Seattle, but other than that, my entire family is still here. A lot of extended, like brothers and sisters, and aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, they're all here. But I left and went to college in Morehead State and was gone for 17 years. And that took me to South Dakota, different parts of North Dakota, Minnesota. I never ventured too far away, but I was gone for 17 years. And then the opportunity came up to buy Terry's, and that's what brought me back 17 years later. But um, it was good for me because I have brothers and sisters, but I'm also an only child because my siblings are all 15 to 16 years older than me. And so I was really raised in a home as an only child. So my experiences growing up were totally different than my brothers and sisters. Um, and so it was good to leave for those years. And it really made me appreciate my hometown. It made me appreciate my roots because um, coming back, I probably would not want to raise a family anywhere else other than this community. Um, I was a single woman with no children all of those years, and when I moved back and bought the store, I got married and had a baby within just a couple of years after that. So it all happened really fast. Um, but I think what's also interesting about my history is that I was a speech pathology major in college. And I got into my junior year, started getting into like some clinical things, and I hated it. I hated it. It was not my thing. I couldn't be behind a desk after meeting with a patient. I couldn't be behind a desk for 2 hours writing up a therapy. I couldn't do it. It wasn't in me. And I tried um, looking for a different major. I jumped into just a general liberal arts degree. I jumped into a teaching degree, and none of them were fitting. So I quit and I never went back. And so I think it's also an interesting testament to you don't have to necessarily have a college degree in order to be successful or create a life for yourself. I think that's also really important. You can find a path that works for you. And I just happened to fall back into retail. My mom was a small business owner, and I worked for her from the time I was 12 years old in customer service and doing things and helping customers. And so it was always really natural. A retail environment and a customer service environment was always really natural for me. So, um, yeah, I started working after college because I had rent and I wasn't in school. So that's what you do. You jump into a job, and I jumped into retail and really organically worked my way up in the companies that I worked for and ended up landing in as like a district manager or an area manager um, for a couple different companies. And because I was single and I had no kids. It was really easy for me to travel and go to different stores, and I was what they called a fixer. So I fixed problem stores. I went in and cleaned up merchandising issues, cleaned up loss prevention issues. I had a store in Oklahoma that pretty much all of the employees were stealing. And so I went in and like discovered the theft issues and the loss prevention issues and worked with the loss prevention team at our corporate headquarters and fired like an entire team of 15 people and then had to rehire a team for them. And so there were different things like that I jumped around doing, and it was really, really gratifying. And it taught me a huge range of skills because I worked in all of these different aspects of like corporate retail. And and it was great, and it was fun, and it was hectic. But then as I got older and got into my 30s, I kind of wanted to slow down, and I also kind of saw the ugly side of the corporate world. And the opportunity to buy the store came up, and that's when I ended up moving back. But um, yeah, I love design. I love anything creative. I'm also a really creative person. I think knowing myself now, if I would have maybe gone into some sort of a marketing field right out of college or in college. I love marketing. I love design, graphic design, things like that. Um, yeah, that's kind of who I am. I'm married. I have a 10-year-old, which keeps me busy, the child, and my husband.
Yeah.
Both of them. But yeah, anything creative, that's kind of who I am. I love design. I love interior design. I was in interior design after college. I also worked in interior design. That was fun. I did that for 2 years. And what I also realized is it was a passion of mine. But once I took that into like a job environment, it wasn't quite as much fun. So I just did that for a couple years. But yeah, then that brought me back to Terry's. Yeah.
Interesting. How did Terry's come into your life? Like what was the story there?
Yeah, so my mom was a business owner in Bismarck. She owned a little home decorating store, which probably is also where I get my interior design background because my mom was an interior designer and she had this little store. But it was called Country Home Sweet Home, and she sold that in the mid '90s, maybe. And I was gone at school. So she sold that, but she was still young. She still wanted to be doing something. So she was friends with Bobby and Terry Hagan, who owned Terry's. So she came to work here just part time. She always loved the natural health atmosphere. She always did things like that. I was in college and we'd be on the phone and she'd say, "Hey, are you sick?" "Yeah, I've got like a sore throat or something." She's like, "I'm going to send you something. I'm sending you some echinacea. I'm sending you some zinc. You need to take this and this and this and this." So I listened to this and heard this. So I had an interest in it. Not a huge knowledge base, but an interest. And so mom was working here part time. And Terry, unfortunately passed away in 2008. And his wife, Bobby, took over the store. And it wasn't the same without him. It just wasn't the same. And it was always Terry's passion. It wasn't her passion. And out of the blue, it was like 2010. My mom called me one day. I was applying for a job to be a district manager in Texas, actually. And she said, "Hey, Bobby wants to sell the store." And I told her, "I think you'd be perfect for it." I don't know why my mom would think that. I think it was she just saw an opportunity to get me to move back to Bismarck because she'd been trying for 17 years. And I told her, like, "Mom, I'm not moving home." Anyway, and I was like, "Absolutely not. I'm not interested. I'm applying for this job. I'm not interested." And then just some things happened in corporate where I kind of had a chance to stand back and look at myself from the outside. And it was kind of a conversation with myself that you're working this hard to build someone else's business, and you're working this hard, 100-hour weeks. Um, you could be doing this for yourself. And It was probably not, it was probably a year later, almost a year later after I had that conversation with my mom and I told her no, and I called her back and said, or I called her and after thinking about it and I said, is the store still for sale? And she said, I don't think she sold it. And I said, tell her I want it. And this is late 2010. I originally had that conversation early 2010. It was probably late 2010. And I said, tell her I want it. I don't know where I'm getting the money from. I literally went on faith, because I said, I don't know where I'm getting the money from. I have a very small 401k. I have no credit. I'm a single girl renting an apartment in South Dakota at that time. And so it was on faith. I went completely on faith with the purchase of the store and I jumped in with both feet. And we made an old fashioned deal over the phone. And she said, okay, it's yours. She said, but I'm not ready to retire for 2 more years. And so she said, you can take over January 1st, 2012. And that was the most stressful, almost 2 years of my life waiting. Like, what if something happens? What I'm just a little bit of internal panic, but at the same time, literally going off of faith. So I moved back to Bismarck, took a job here in Bismarck as a district manager of a different company, that started getting me closer. And I did that probably a year before I took over. And started meeting with Bobby and started getting things set up. And it was perfect. It couldn't have happened better at the right time. Um, I, I, I've had people ask me like, how do you just know how to do something? Or how do you just go off of instinct? And I said, I go back to, it's my belief in my faith in God and going off of what is the right time and trusting the process. And Andy and I've talked about trusting the process before. And in that particular time period in my life, it was the right timing, it was meeting the right people, and it was just the right trusting the process and trusting God and leaning into my faith on it. That He's never steered me wrong in any other way. And we have intuition for a reason to know, to trust it, and to just trust your gut instinct. Yeah. So that's how Terry's happened.
Did you work for someone else and Terry's kind of at the same time then for those 2 years?
I didn't step foot into this business and start working here until a week before I took over.
Okay.
And I crash coursed into everything I could. And I was on the sales floor, and the team was amazing. There's always been an amazing group of people who've worked in this store, come and gone, but they've always been really knowledgeable. I listened to everything I could. I read everything I could, every book I could. I immediately enrolled. And you know what? I take that back. As soon as I moved back to Bismarck, I enrolled in um, a natural health college out of Seattle. And so I immediately did that like a year before I took over the store and started educating myself with those online classes. So I did do that. I wasn't worried about the day-to-day running the business. That's all, that's black and white. You know what I mean? I wasn't worried about that, but I was worried about um, just wanting to make sure that I maintained the integrity and the character of the business that was established. That was important to me. So, um, but I was working my full-time district manager job, which was a full-time travel job as a district manager. I had 12 different stores all over North Dakota, and I traveled 4 days a week. So I did that while I was still learning and stopping into the store just to say hi and just kind of start talking to people a little bit. But I didn't step foot to really work in the store until just a couple days before I took over. But then I worked a lot of till 3 or 4 o'clock in the mornings, you know,
Yeah.
getting it put together and creating handbooks and things that weren't in place. And but those are the things I like. I like sitting on my laptop in the middle of the night and doing that stuff too. So, but it's every bit of it has been rewarding in so many
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
I have found that when there's like a big thing coming up, like a year out, 2 years out, like still staying in the day to day because you're kind of like anticipating this day coming. That's really hard. So good for
Yeah,
you.
it is hard. And I was doing things behind the scenes before I took over. Like I knew I was going to want to change the logo, working on things like that, just little things that I could do to, I think what I needed to be, I think I needed to be in the environment without being in the environment yet, because she wasn't ready for me to even be present. But I think I needed to find a way to start the sell to myself and the buy into myself and create that ownership before I was actually the owner. And so that, I think that's why it was so easy to jump in with 2 feet. And I instantly had like a connection to the business when I came in, because I had been preparing for that for so long.
Right.
What
That's
kind of changes have happened over the last, how many years have you owned Terry's then? Since
13. So
13.
2012, 13
So
years.
what types of changes have what, you know, from then until now?
Well, we moved the
Um,
location a year after I bought it. We just moved across the parking lot. We went from about 1,500 square feet to 3,000, which felt huge, but now I could really, technically, I really ideally could use another 2 or 3,000 feet, honestly. Um, but so we moved
yeah.
locations. That was huge. And then I think one thing that I did was I knew that there was a need, and at the time we didn't have natural grocers, we didn't have Cashwise that had the natural section, we didn't have any of these other options, Costco or Sam's Club that have a lot more organic options. I immediately expanded the food because I knew that like natural food and like more gluten-free options, like preservative-free, dye-free, anything like artificial flavors. Without artificial flavors, I immediately expanded the food when I came in, because I just knew that there was a need and a demand for that. And I saw the projections. I saw that the industry was going to be growing, that it was not declining, that this industry as a general, a wave towards a healthier lifestyle was increasing. And so there were things like that. I did some small remodeling, some small rearranging that just made more sense, grouping products together. When I bought the store was grouped as brands. Well, that's not how we shop as consumers. We don't shop by a brand. And so I rearranged the entire store and put things together as like products. So I was fine. It was driving me crazy as someone who was not familiar with the store. When I was helping a customer, it would be like, I'm looking for vitamin D. Okay, well, we have this vitamin D over here. Now come over here with me over here. Then over here on this side, we have this vitamin D. I'm like, this is not how people shop. I gathered everything. All of our vitamin Ds are on one shelf. That makes sense, right? All of our calciums are in one section. So that was probably the biggest change. Um, that customers noticed, because that took a little bit of retraining. Um, but it just made more sense. It put options right in front of them. Here's our lowest price to our highest price, our different milligrams, all of it's right in front of you. It's probably the biggest change that I did pretty much immediately. Other than that, over the years, there's been like additions and things, but our core values of who we are have not changed. It's been customer service driven, trying to keep the prices as low as possible, honoring and respecting everyone's points of view, because the natural health world, we draw in a huge variety of personalities. There's people who are very, very crunchy, very natural. They don't want any preservatives. They don't want anything. They want it as clean as possible, to the customers who are coming in, who are in here just to buy a really good supplement because their doctor told them to come to us, and they're not part of that lifestyle. So we have so many different people who come in. We have people who vaccinate, who don't vaccinate, who take medication, who don't take medication. So we really have been super inclusive to respect everyone's choices that they make for their personal body. And ultimately that's still the core of who we are. And I've wanted to continue that core belief system. It was super important to me. So, yeah.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, well, so let's switch to well, no, let's stay with Terry's. Where do you see Terry's in 5 years?
It's a great question. The last, you know, things in business, I think, ebb and flow. And when we get into a place of complacency, I think it's easy. Terry's is really stable. It's got a good foundation. It's got an amazing customer base. I've got a great team right now. So it's easy to really get complacent and just be like, oh, everything's good. And there's a couple different types of business owners. There's business owners who are like, don't rock the boat. Everything's good. Let's just keep it as it is. And then there's business owners and there's leaders and there's visionaries who are kind of like, I see something different. It's a little too comfortable right now. Let me shake this up a little bit. And I go through different periods of being both types of leader. Um, Up until this point, I've been like, okay, we've done some different things and like added things and done this and rearranged, like done different things. But for the most part, I'm just like pretty much like, let's not rock the boat. Now my daughter's older. Um, it's easier. I don't, she's not, doesn't, is not as needy of me anymore. And I'm kind of like, maybe we need a new building. Maybe we need to look at that. Maybe we need to do some expanding. So there's some big picture things. Maybe it needs to be part of like a bigger picture health and wellness center, something like that. So there's some bigger picture things that I see in the future for Terry's, incorporating it with maybe another avenue. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's ideas in this head, and I just have to see where it takes me, where it flows to, if that makes sense.
Well, as a member of the community, I am super excited to see where Terry's is headed in the next few years. And I just have to tell you that watching you from the outside looking in has been it's you're very good at what you do. And
Thanks.
I've been a client of Terry, client, is that the right word? Customer of Terry's for many years, long before you even came in the mix. So it's been fun to watch the evolution of Terry's in general. Josie, you are
That was
fortunate enough to have
neighbors.
worked. Yeah,
Yeah,
you were her neighbor.
Yeah,
right across the
Yeah,
neighbors.
street.
I know. She
yeah.
supplied me with lunch many, many times.
Yeah.
When you need a quick drink, like, oh, what kind of snack
Exactly.
am I going to get? Some good healthy snacks.
Really
Yes.
need some peanut butter today,
Yeah.
or almond butter, whatever. Yeah. No, it was wonderful next door. And I was always greeted with like a friendly face. And there were, different people throughout there. I feel like you had a range of
Yeah.
be like college students to like people who've been there forever, right? Like you
Yes.
got that
Yes.
coming through. And no, it was wonderful having you next door. That's a good block that we were in,
It's
really.
a good
Or you're
block.
still there, yeah.
I know. And that's the kind of hard part about thinking about moving or changing locations ever. It's like we're really centrally located on Main there. We're easy to get into. We've got a nice big parking lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of central of town. The draw is to always be up north now with all of the build up there, but it's nice to also be in the center of town. You kind of hit everyone. So that's the only drawback of thinking about moving is I lose this great central location. So see what
Right.
the future holds.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah,
happens.
that's exciting.
Hey, what advice do you have for like up and coming entrepreneurs or, someone who's wanting to start a business or has a business idea? Um, I think you kind of gave that advice already, like listen to your intuition, that type of thing. But what do you have any concrete, solid
Yeah,
advice?
I think it's so important. I see on social media all the time people are like, hey, what do you guys think about this business? I'm thinking about opening XYZ. And I think the part that people haven't done, I think you need to do your due diligence. I think you need to understand the competition, understand the market demand. There's a million great business ideas, but you really have to understand your market. This business might be great in another city, but you have to understand, for our community in particular, you have to understand that being center of the country, things get to us slower. And I'm not talking about shipping or ideas. There have been so many things that we have been about 5 years ahead of our time on. We tried selling She Legit. We tried selling CMOS 5 years ago. It sits on the shelf empty and expires. Now, some of those things we can't keep on the shelf. You have to understand your market demand and where you're at and your community very specifically. There's great business ideas out there that will be phenomenal. But if your market is not going to buy into it, or your community is not going to buy into it, if it's just a little bit too soon, then your business is not going to be successful. So I think understanding your market demand in your community, understanding your competition and who you might think is competition might not be competition, and who actually is your competition, they might not be on your radar. So really spending time and really digging in and having a solid business plan, but not a traditional business plans are they serve a purpose for banks and investors, but for visionaries and for a big picture, you're not gonna it's not gonna do the same thing. You can do a business plan in a different kind of way by going out and getting your feet out there and start getting on the pavement and going into those other businesses and getting out there and looking around. And I did that a lot as a district manager, because I went out recruiting like that, or I went out and I'm like, what are other businesses doing? What are other stores in this industry? How are they doing displays? What are we missing? And what kind of service am I getting? How am I getting greeted when I'm going into other stores? We still do it. I still get out into the community and I go into other businesses, not just in the health aspect. We'll go into the mall. I'll take my store manager into the mall. We'll walk into clothing stores and I'm like, I want you to hear how you're greeted. I want you to see, like, are people on their phones? Do they have drinks behind the registers? There's a whole aspect that you need to get out and understand your community, depending on the kind of business that you're really trying to build. I think that's my biggest piece of advice is ideas are great and they're wonderful, and don't ever let anyone like squish your big thoughts, but you also have to put some work behind those big thoughts too. Yeah.
It seems like you are not scared to work hard. Like it seems like that's just, and it's fun for you, right?
It's fun. I have silent generation parents. So my parents are in their 80s. I saw my dad work his butt off at the same job for 40 some years. I saw my mom in her small business work every night until 3 o'clock in the morning, getting freight out that needed to be put on decorated Christmas trees. So no, I'm not afraid to work. I've slowed down. I'm 50 now, and I can feel that as a difference. Like I can feel that in my age a little bit. Don't have all the energy that I used to, but I'm not afraid to work. And I don't think you can be, as starting out as an entrepreneur or a business owner, or like starting a big idea. You can't sit back and let the great somebody fulfill or put your big dreams and your vision to place. You have to be the ones to do that and set the standard and set the example. Yeah.
So as things have slowed down, I'm guessing, as you built a team and, you were able to be more in the creative than hopefully the admin,
Yeah.
right? At some point,
Yes,
that kind
totally.
of thing, right?
Yes.
Did you feel like you had some downtime that you didn't know what to do with? Or did you fill it up right away with something else?
Um,
Understand?
no, I found different things to do. My schedule obviously looks different now, 13 years in. I have a great team in place. I learned how to delegate better. I learned how to not be such an and I've never been a micromanager, but I was a perfectionist. Well, so we can say that. And I've learned how to let go of some of those things. Um, it's also, oh, I had a great idea that it just slipped my brain, but I learned
That's because you're 50.
that's exactly it. That's
That's
exactly it.
that's Because you're
Um,
50 now.
yes, you
Okay.
had said, uh, oh, I was in a great, another, it wasn't the marketing group that Andy and I were in, but it was in a great marketing group. It was a CEO group. And I was in I was in over my head a little bit, but I learned so much. I was in like with the CEO of like Cloverdale, and it was like that kind of a marketing group. And probably one of the biggest things that I learned that I really got out of that group that I really took away with me is that um, when you've established your business to a certain level, you've established your company or your corporation to a certain level, your role as the leader changes. And you have to make sure that you're not so busy working in your business that you don't have time to work on your business. So that's what I do now. I work on the business. I'm the visionary. I have the big ideas. I do the marketing. I've told my team, I'm not on the sales floor. My presence is on the sales floor 1% of the week. So I've told them I will work on getting people. It's my job to get people into the doors, into the store. I need you guys to make sure that they want to come back because you give them excellent service when they're in here. Our buyers, it's your job to make sure you have the right product selection in the on the sales floor. But I'm the big visionary. I am the one who gets people in, and I have time to do the big ideas, which they don't. And that it's my vision anyway. So that's what I do with my downtime. Yeah, it's the big
Well, I
picture.
maybe heard from a friend that are you a pilot?
I'm not a pilot. My husband's a
Your
pilot.
husband is a pilot. So do you guys
Yes.
fly around a lot?
No, because
No.
I'm afraid to fly. So go
Oh,
figure there. But he flies for the state, so we don't. He flies like a bigger plane, and so we have access to smaller planes. But I'm afraid to fly. Even Delta, even big planes. It's never been my favorite thing, and he doesn't
Got
get
it.
it. Like I love a road trip. He hates a road trip. We drove somewhere like a few weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Really?" He's like, "We could have been there like in 45 minutes, and we would have flown." I'm like, "Well, a road trip is fun too." So yeah, no,
okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
no, piloting is not for me.
I don't think I could do it either. It
Yeah,
sounds intense. Sounds
yeah.
intense. So what do you do for fun?
Um, I this is so lame, you guys. It's so lame. Creating marketing things is fun for me. It's a hobby. I love Canva. Like future CEOs or entrepreneurs or business owners, Canva is so great. Um, I love Canva, and my daughter loves it now too. I'm like, you're going to be a little marketer. That's what you're going to do. She's like, Mommy, look at what I made. She's creating like marketing ads for like a random company. She's like, look at this, what I did. And so I'm like, I love that for you. I love that for you. I anything creative. I love to do creative. I love to. This is another lame thing. I love to declutter and organize something. I will like clean a closet out and reorganize it for fun. And then there's this like playing with my daughter and like watching movies with my husband, swimming. I love to swim. So just floating in the pool or um, just taking time to just breathe and like put my feet in the grass and just sit. I'm not a book reader, it's too slow for me, but I'll sit and just kind of just veg out and meditate. Um, yeah, yeah, my brain goes pretty fast for me to slow down and do too many things. So yeah,
What
yeah.
would you say like is like your maybe top three things that you do on a not routine per se, but like that really ground you, that help you stay at the level that you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, so I think it's important. Like we talk a lot about like mental health, right? We all talk about mental health, but I think what I've discovered, which is equally important, which we don't talk enough about, is our nervous system health. And I think as a society, our as hard and taxed as our mental health is, it's our nervous system that's tied right into that. So anything that I have discovered in the last few years that will slow my nervous system down, I've really gotten into like breathing lately, and just really, and it's not even like, I don't want to say meditation because people think like meditation has to be such a formal situation. It's just stopping and like breathing and being very conscious of my breaths and breathing in and breathing out. Um, a lot of this I've learned as we've kind of discovered some diagnosis with my daughter. She's got ADHD, and just some of these techniques that have been like, just calm our nervous system. And it's so simple. Um, Doing something like that. I love like binaural beats and like acoustic therapy things. When I have a chance in my office, I'll turn off my lights, I'll put my AirPods in, and I will do something simple as listening to like a binaural beat to just restructure and reset my nervous system. Anything I can do like that is really what I think grounds me. Even my team has said, they're like, over like the last 8 months, you've been really calm, kind of scary. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's turning 50 this year. Maybe it's being really comfortable in my skin and where everything is in my life. I don't know, but I've found a way to tap into my nervous system and just slow everything down. Our world is insane and it moves fast and it's crazy. And I put off things now a lot longer than I used to. I used to allow to-do lists to tax me. I don't create a 10 thing to-do list anymore. I maybe have 3 of the most important things on my to-do list, and I work through those, and I really accept, unless it's pressing, unless I need taxes to be paid or something is pressing, it can go till tomorrow. It's okay. Those kind of things I think keep me grounded and keep me centered and keep me just pushing forward.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nervous system junkie, so I get
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
okay. What else?
Well,
Yeah.
I think Lana needs to go pick up her daughter from school. So we're gonna let Lana sign off. Josie, should we keep chatting for a minute?
Yeah, let's do that. Sorry, I have a
Okay.
fly that keeps coming right over my screen. So if
Oh,
I'm doing this or like right over the camera.
Maybe
Oh wait, this is
maybe he
oh,
has something to
living on a
say.
ranch.
yeah.
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 Thanks you guys for having me.
Thanks so much, Lana.
So
Thanks,
much
Lana.
fun to talk to you guys, and it's just your energies are great. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of hear my story. And yeah,
I loved it. I thought it's going to be so helpful. It's going to be great for our
yeah,
listeners. I
Yes,
appreciate your
perfect.
time.
Good.
agreed. Thanks, Lana.
Thanks you
Have a good
guys.
day.
You too. You guys, bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Okay, Josie.
Yeah. Sorry, look at this fly right now. He just won't leave my little mirror or my camera alone. Just funny.
Maybe he's a maybe he has something to say.
He might. He might. I haven't I'm not aggressive with him, but anyway. Yeah, wasn't
So
that great? Oh my gosh.
Lana's so great. She's so great. And if you haven't been to Terry's, to me, I'm like, it's even amazes me sometimes when I'll tell people you can go buy this at Terry's and they're like, oh yeah, I've never been there. I'm thinking like, how have you never been there? But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's such a great little store with all kinds of fun things in it. But
right.
yeah,
Right. No,
and
it's great.
she's
And I think she's on social and she's involved in the community in a lot of different ways. I guess we
yes,
should talk to her about that. But if anyone's looking, and it's on Main Street in Bismarck is where
yeah,
it's located at. But I
yes.
believe they have some online. I don't know if it's online stuff, but I feel like she's you're able to get a hold of her, is what I'm saying. Like if anyone's
Yes,
looking like
agreed. She's
connect with her.
accessible.
Accessible, that's
Actually,
the word.
I didn't meet Lana. Now that I think about it, I did not meet her in a networking group. I
You
actually met her. I had reached out to her um, from Karma, in Karma Vita, I wanted to bring in some CBD products to be used inside of services. So I wanted to do a CBD oil and facial products and things like that. So I had reached out to her because I wanted to see if she'd be willing to just visit with me. She is just extremely knowledgeable about CBD and THC and all of those types of things.
Hmm.
And she responded to me immediately and invited me to come to Terry's and meet with her. And so, and I mean, she didn't know me at all, but she just was very welcoming and like, yeah, come on in, let's chat. So, I completely forgot we had done that.
Oh, that's
Just,
very, very cool.
yeah, right.
Collaborator.
So, yes. Okay, let's talk about retreats. I know we still don't have anything concrete to talk about, but I just wanted to remind everybody that we're setting our retreat dates
Yeah,
we're going to hold one in October, in um, the Phoenix
here
area.
in the Phoenix area. I am so
Yes.
excited for this. Honestly, I was just putting a
Yeah.
lot of things together in the last couple of days, just like, the things. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, this is gonna be so fun. It really is.
It's going to be great, but we only have a couple spots.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let people know right away. We don't have the exact dates, but it's going to be like that second week in October. So like what did we figure it is? It's like the fifth, the sixth, seventh, or no, like it's the seventh, eighth, ninth, eighth, ninth, 10th, something like that.
Yep.
Somewhere
Okay.
around. Yeah,
That's
Josie,
the
take a
week.
look.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
It's either the 8th, ninth, 10th, or ninth, 10th, 11th, something
Yeah,
like that.
something like
We're
that.
we're doing that week, but
Yes, so take a look at your schedules and see if you can join us in the Phoenix area, Mesa area most specifically, but and then we're also working on our dates for 2026. So and just a side note, we do retreats that are sort of pre-programmed, right? And we have a schedule and an itinerary, all those agenda, that type of thing. But we also do create your own retreats. So if anybody's interested in creating their own retreat, in other words, you just give us we create the retreat, but you bring the people and you tell us sort of you want a relaxing retreat? Do you want a girls' weekend? Do you want more
venture, try
specific
something new, you know,
entrepreneurship, help, whatever. Um,
corporate ones for your team.
corporate retreats, absolutely. We do all of those things. The one in Phoenix, the one in Mesa area in October, we're going to really focus on like a 3-day detox type of thing. So,
Yeah.
who doesn't need that? I don't know. I'm always up for a
Oh, yeah.
detox.
Yeah. Well, and it's a gentle thing, but yeah, just feeling refreshed and that your body's
Yes,
just providing a, safe and comfortable place. And this is Andy's little baby, her little growing baby, this house down in Arizona. So I'm pretty
it's my
stoked.
baby now.
It
Yes,
is.
it is my
Yes.
little baby.
So
It'll be at my home in Arizona. Um, and it's beautiful. And actually, I'm hoping to later today or this weekend at some point put some pictures on our socials and so that people can kind of have a visual of what to expect when you're down there. And like Josie, I like that you use the word gentle. Yeah, we're not coming in hot with a detox. We're just it's more of a reset, maybe might be a better word for it. But yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna
just the brain, nervous system, and the body, just kind of connecting it all
yeah,
together and just letting the body not have to listen to all that noise for a few days.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
make sure you're subscribing if you can. Subscribe or like find us on our socials so you can see when these come out. I realize that not everyone is on our socials. So if you subscribe to your channels of where you listen to your podcasts on the regular, then you'll see when the new ones pop up. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, goodbye everyone. And
Josie's driving to Denver today.
I am driving to Denver today.
So you drive
I will. Thank you.
safely, and enjoy the beautiful day.
I cannot wait to share all the things next week. So it'll be wonderful.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Bye.